Keir Starmer, I know you're about to tell me that this was a superb set of local election results, but I'm here with a bit of a reality check. Your vote share didn't grow on the 2019 results. When you extrapolate out to a general election, you're not winning an outright majority. You're well behind where Tony Blair was in 1995 before his landslide victory. So progress up the mountain that you said you had to climb, but nowhere near enough. You must be a bit disappointed by that.
This was a very good set of election results for us, and it puts us on course for a Labour majority. And it's not just the numbers, it's where we won. You know, winning in places like Medway. We haven't won in Medway since 1998. Dover, we haven't won since 1995. These were key places we took in the general election of 1997. Swindon, Plymouth, Stoke. Yeah. So these are key battlegrounds for the general election. So it's the fact that we won, and it's where we won.
But Keir Starmer, we can trade seats and areas. So Stockton, you went backwards. Walsall, Dudley, Black Country, you stood still. Hull, Lib Dems took seats from you. OK, so we can do that. But the big picture here is that you're giving me a narrative about an outright majority that no one else is. Literally no psephologist has looked at these results and said that you are on course for a majority based on these results.
But I'm confident we're on course. We've looked carefully at these results. But I also underline
But no expert has agreed with you, so that's spin, isn't it?
Underlying this is the question of why this has happened. And it has happened because we've changed the Labour Party. People are looking again at the Labour Party. And also, we had an absolute focus on the cost of living. And wherever you go in the country, including all those places where we won votes, it's because people had trust and confidence in us and what we were saying about the cost of living.
Yeah, I'm not saying that there hasn't been progress. What I'm putting to you is every psephologist, every expert, everyone that studies these numbers, and they've done them for decades, say that Labour is, based on these results, not on course for an outright majority. And you keep saying that you are.
I think we are. I think if you look at where we've won...
But the evidence doesn't back it up.
Factor in what's happening in Scotland. But look, if you're putting to me that we need to kick on, I completely accept that. I'm confident, but I'm not complacent. And I know, and I'm going to be telling the Shadow Cabinet in absolutely no uncertain terms, that the hard bit, the hardest bit, is still ahead of us. So we're going to kick on from these, but this is a very good set of election results for us and a very, very poor set of election results for the Conservatives.
So since you want to level with the public and be truthful, wouldn't it be better to say we have it in our grasp that we could win an outright majority, but based on these results, we're going to be the largest party? That's actually accurate, isn't it?
The way you say levelling with the public, what actually caused these results was our laser-like focus on the cost of living and our ability to show the Labour Party had changed. We build on that, we kick on from that, but I am absolutely certain that we can kick on now to a Labour majority and deliver the change. I mean, if anything, these elections told us that people are crying out for change, and I want change for the country, which is why we'll kick on to that general election.
You need a swing of over 10 points. You need 124 seat gains. On the national equivalent vote, Blair was on 47 points against the Tories on 25 back in 1995. You're on 36 points against the Tories on 2019. The numbers, Sir Keir, don't back up what you're telling me.
Beth,
they just don't back it up.
You've put a version of this question to me many times in the last 3 years. My task was to take the Labour Party from a terrible result in 2019, our worst since 1935, into a Labour majority government. And every year you put that challenge to me, and every year we improve our position and we make progress. But we will kick on from here.
And if you said to me,
I'm
on
confident
course,
that we will get there.
And if you said to me, I'm on course to be the next Prime Minister, but I don't know if that's a minority or majority government, we wouldn't be having this debate, because that would be backed up by the figures.
There's a bit of me that thinks even if I was the Prime Minister, you'd still be putting to me that wasn't quite
Well, I
good enough.
wouldn't. All I'm doing is putting to you what the psephologists say. No one agrees with you that you are on course for an outright majority, literally no one, and it's your spin.
When I took over as leader of the Labour Party, people shook me by the hand and said, good luck. And then they said, you'll never do it in one term. And now we're being challenged because we're not further ahead. That shows the progress that we've made, but it's why we've done it. It's the connection with the public about the issue that matters them, the cost of living crisis.
Well, you say you need to kick on. The real winner, though, that gave you a bit of a kick in as well as the Tories was Ed Davey. Is there a tinge of envy or fear there? from you?
We, the Labour Party, made really positive gains across the country. And we didn't just, get across the line. In places like Medway, this time last week, there was an 11-seat Tory majority. Now there's an 11-seat Labour majority. And it's that point of connection. It's because we were talking about the things that matter to people most, which is making ends meet, the cost of living crisis.
And so, Keir, you sat next to Ed Davey at the coronation on Saturday. Is it a man you can do business with?
Well, look, I'm going for an outright majority, and I'm often asked, will you do a deal with the SNP? And I've been absolutely clear there are no terms in which we would do a deal with the SNP.
Yeah.
I want to push on to a Labour majority.
What about the Lib Dems?
Well, look, I'm not answering hypotheticals, but we are aiming for a Labour majority, and that's what we're confident about, because the cry this set of local elections was a cry for change, and Labour is the party that can deliver that change.
OK, so you are ruling out a deal with the SNP on any terms, but you're not ruling out a deal with the Lib Dems?
Well, as you know, with the SNP, it's a fundamental difference. I do not believe in the breakup and separation of the United Kingdom. I do not believe that our future will be better if we put a border between Scotland and England. So there's no basis for an agreement. But just to be clear,
you're ruling out any sort of arrangement with the SNP, and you are not doing that with the Liberal Democrats.
But I'm clear, I'm pressing on. I want a Labour majority government, a workable majority.
Because the reason I asked, Keir, is that last year you said you would not go into coalition with anyone, including the Lib Dems. You said that in an interview with Bloomberg. So you're slightly changing position.
No, I've said throughout, actually from the day I took over as leader, that I want to go for a Labour majority government, because that's the way we can deliver change. That's my total focus. The hypotheticals about what might happen, that goes on for every general election.
But what I'm hearing is that you are now slightly equivocating on the Liberal Democrats, because last year you said you wouldn't have any formal arrangement with the Liberal Democrats, and you would rule out any arrangement, confidence and supply, formal, informal, and you're not, just to be really clear, it's very important, you're not saying that today.
Look, I want a clear majority Labour government, and one of the reasons we've made progress in the last 3 years is because, for all the noises off, we've kept a laser-like focus on the progress we needed to make as a party. We've made really good progress in these local elections, and now we will kick on for a majority Labour government so we can bring about the change we need.
You haven't answered my question. I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you prepared to come to some sort of arrangement, if necessary, informal or formal, with the Liberal Democrats?
Well, Beth, you can ask me as many times as you like. The answer is I'm pressing on for a Labour majority at the general election.
I know, but you've ruled out the SNP, and people will hear that you've ruled out one and not the other. I've got one more question for you. On the Prime Minister, you say he's out of touch. Is that personally or politically?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. And if you, just on this cost of living, if you compare, best way I can put it, I suppose, compare the Prime Minister and me. When I was growing up, we couldn't pay our bills and our phone was cut off. And I know the anxiety and actually the shame that it has for families. So I know what people are going through. Now, the problem, I'm not, he's a wealthy man, that's good. I don't knock that. But it means that he doesn't understand, I don't think. He doesn't know the anxiety that people are going through. He makes choices for his own family, understandably. I'm not criticising those. But does he understand the choices that families across the country are having to make because of the failure of his government? I don't think he does.
Do you think that because he sends his children to private schools and he's used private healthcare in the past, that he doesn't understand what people are up against when they're sending their kids to state schools or when they're trying to use the NHS?
Yeah, I'm not going to criticise him for where he sends his children to school.
Would you send your kids to private schools?
No, I wouldn't. Our kids are in state school.
Would you use private healthcare?
No, I wouldn't. But I'm not getting into a personal attack on the Prime Minister for sending his children to a private school. What I am saying is that sometimes, and a cost of living crisis I think is one of them, you have to be able to stand in the shoes of the voters and properly understand what they're going through. And I don't think that the Prime Minister is able to properly understand the decisions that families are having to make as a result of the terrible decisions of his government.
Just finally, you did talk in PM Keys, you said the Prime Minister either is not using the same public services as the rest of us or he's simply not seeing the damage. That to me is a bleak criticism of the fact that he doesn't use those public services.
Well, the criticism is I don't think that he understands what families are going through. I don't think he's got that point of connection. I know what it feels like to sit around the kitchen table knowing you can't make ends meet. And that's an anxiety that is very real for me, so that when we're saying what we would do in relation to the cost of living crisis, it's a question of who have you got in your mind when you make decisions, and that's what I mean by a point of connection.
Final question, 1 to 10, how likely is it going to be that you will have a majority Labour government next year if there's an election?
Towards the top end.
So
that's what we're going for.
8
that's
out of 10?
Well, look, I'm not a betting person. I'm not going to put money on this. I'm going to do what I've done for 3 and a bit years now, which is I know what I've got to achieve and I know why I've got to achieve it, and I'm going to shut out the noise, concentrate on, and year after year we make progress, we improve, and there's a reason for that. We're a changed party, laser focused on the cost of living, which is the single most important thing for voters.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.